Time to go get some smokes and snacks.
Time to go get some smokes and some gas and some snacks and some big ones and really big, world's biggest.
World's biggest.
The smokes and the gas and the world's biggest snack. Her name is
You,
Lacey.
the viewer, are the world's biggest snack. Her name's Lacey.
Lazor Comb.
We are not going to panic.
What the heck even happened to you, man?
Vengeance.
Shrimp Daddy! Ha 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 ha!
Give him a hockey stick!
What am I, fucking magician, man?
Am I some kind of fucking magician, man?
Fucking nerd!
Whatever. It's not like we're professionals anyway.
And I'm not sorry anymore.
Time to big brain.
Every day, yes.
What is the airwolf of trains?
Elbows up, listeners. Welcome to episode 129 of the Lazor Comb podcast, the show where we comb through random episodes of classic TV with a fine-tooth laser. I am, as always, Christopher Siege, one of your hosts.
And I'm NeoCal, your other host.
What's going on, Cal?
Well, we're just following the heels of Canada Day and America Day.
That's
upon
right.
recording. Yeah.
Yeah, at the time of recording, it's been about a week since Canada Day, Canada's birthday, the Great Maple Leaf Day.
Yeah.
How was your Canada Day?
What did I do? That was on like a Tuesday, I think.
It certainly was.
Definitely stayed inside and didn't go outside. I don't want to have anything to do with the madness.
Yeah, that's fair. I wasn't feeling that well that day, actually, so I spent most of the day in bed.
Well, there you go. That's how exciting our Canada Day was. And then a few days later, America Day happens.
Yeah.
Which they call the 4th of July. Which is weird because that's just the date. Imagine calling Christmas the 25th of December.
Right. I mean, it does have a name. It's officially known as Independence Day.
Are you telling me that the movie where Will Smith punches an alien is about the 4th of July?
Yeah, don't you remember Jeff Goldblum playing George Washington? And
and he was, "Hark thee, for thou must consider, upon this great nation, we must go faster."
And we had we had Gary Sinise as Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And
classic.
We had Tom Hanks as Thomas Jefferson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we had who else did we have? We had Sean Connery playing Alexander Hamilton.
That's right. And he was like, "Guess what? I'm back."
Run along
as
now.
He flew that chariot into
Run along now, American talk.
Run along now. Run along now. Americans are talking. Smacks the horse's ass.
Americans like me.
Americans like me.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the plot to Best Picture Academy Award winner for 1996, Roland Emmerich's Independence Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? As reported from Parallel Universe Earth 37 reporting in what kind of Independence Day is in? Yeah. Well, there's been no contact from Earth 11 to Earth 17, mysteriously. Wonder what happened there.
Maybe there was infighting between them. They learned how they learned how to
they
dimension
unleashed
step.
Jet Li. Yeah.
They unleashed Jet Li. Oh, that's what happened. Jet Li killed the other Jet Li, and it caused the cataclysmic destruction of not only just one universe, but like the three on either side of the line closest to it.
Oh, that makes sense.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, adjacent ones. Yeah, the adjacent ones have closer similarities.
Yeah,
Like Siege and I were just talking in our Patreon exclusive behind the scenes talk.
right.
About we're wondering what the Prime timeline is doing. Earth One, probably pretty good.
Probably, yeah. Before the
Hard
great,
to imagine.
before
the great
before the great infraction point in
yeah.
at the end, sparked by the end of the Mayan calendar in December of 2012.
They tried to warn us.
We could straight up come up with our own like fan fiction surrounding this, like easily. I think.
Easily, I think we already have.
Yeah, we're already there. But unfortunately, we're not in the Prime universe now. We're stuck in we're stuck in Earth 37. And let me tell you,
where we have Bon Cop, Bad Cop remake.
Where for some reason we a 2006 Canadian cop movie that was a kind of a Canadian riff on Lethal Weapon 20 years after Lethal Weapon was
20
a thing.
years after.
Yeah, Bon Cop, Bad Cop.
Which had a show that I didn't know about.
Oh, Bon Cop, Bad Cop movie, Canadian riff on Lethal Weapon from 2006. In 2017, there was a random sequel to it. For some
that's
reason.
What it was. Yeah.
And then I just discovered last night that they are making a show. And not just and
that's
this
what
and this isn't one of those things too where it's just like, oh, we're announcing that we're going to make a show based on this. No, the shit's filming right now. Casts came back from the movies. I'm like, wild. This is further proof that we've slipped into a different reality.
And further proof of that reality is that we have Canadian Heritage Month here on the Lazor Comb podcast.
That's right, bringing it back on track. So this month on the Lazor Comb podcast, we're calling it Elbows Up Month. We're going to be reviewing and celebrating not just Canadian produced content, but content that is set in Canada specifically. And we're kicking it off with Corner Gas.
You can tell me that your dog ran away, then tell me that it took 3 days. I've heard every joke, I've heard everyone you say. You think there's not a lot going on, look closer, baby, you're so wrong. And that's why you can stay so long, when there's not a lot going on.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Corner Gas is a show, sitcom based in the fictional town of Dog River, Saskatchewan. It ran from 2004 to 2009 for a grand total of 107 episodes.
Holy Lord.
107 episodes. It features what the show is about is the plot of the show is kicked off when a woman from Ontario named Lacey, played by Gabrielle Miller, moves to this town of Dog River, Saskatchewan, because she has inherited the cafe in the town that was owned by her Aunt Ruby, who has just passed away.
So it's basically like the beginning of like a farming sim video game.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you go to a small town to escape big city life because a relative has left you their farm plot or restaurant or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
I don't remember Farmville having that much backstory to it, but
Farmville was its own thing. A phenomena of the past. Phenomena.
Phenomena.
Phenomena. Whenever I hear that word, I think of that. Phenomena. So yeah, she keeps it. She keeps its name, Ruby's.
Well,
And-
actually, the town didn't have a name prior to that. Or not the town, the cafe. It was just called the cafe. But she decides
That's right.
she decides to name it the Ruby after her
You're
Aunt
right.
Ruby.
You're right. Yeah, that's nice.
Because the town was kind of up in arms that she was going to name it, because they were like, "Oh, it's always just been the
Right.
cafe. We don't want you to change the name of it." And
It's
so
been many years since I've seen this show.
so she decides to honor her aunt, who was like beloved in the community, by naming the cafe the Ruby, and everyone's happy with that.
Yeah.
Beside the Ruby is the local gas
across the
station.
gravel parking lot, if you can call it that, is the gas station.
Yeah, the titular Corner Gas, which is not owned per se, but managed. That's right. It's managed by a character named Brent. It's owned by his parents still.
Yeah.
His parents, Oscar, and can't remember what his mom's name is.
Emma.
Right. So the gas station's owned by them. It's managed by Brent. It has one employee, a woman named Wanda, and a frequent hanger about Brent's best friend, Hank.
Man with no technical work experience, but of many talents and odd jobs.
Yeah.
His friend Hank.
And the cast is rounded out by the two cops in the town, whose names are... what are they? I just watched this show recently, and I'm kind of blanking on their names.
Officer, yeah.
It's her name that I can't remember. Oh, Karen.
Yeah.
Constable Karen Pelly, and in my opinion, the MVP of the show, Sergeant Davis.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like that.
I have actually run into him IRL.
You know what's weird? Me too. I worked at a fairly bougie like hotel, so like meeting Canadian actors was actually very not uncommon for me.
Yeah.
But I think he's a highlight of the show.
Yeah, he lives in Squamish, BC. And I lived in Squamish for a time, and I actually ran into him in I think it was Subway. It was like some some fast food place. I ran into him and I recognized him. I didn't say anything to him, but I recognized him.
Yeah, he's an older cop who's showing the rookie around.
Well,
and the rookie being Karen, who's like a blonde, newer officer.
The rookie, yeah. Well, and older in the sense that honestly, he's probably around our age.
His insecurity about his age, coincidentally enough, actually comes up in this episode.
It does, and it's kind of
I actually find it funnier than the main plot stuff, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, we're going to get into that real quick, but for now, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some corner gas.
You won't believe some of these proposals. Look at this one. And this. Phew. Now this is what I wanted from the start. But Mike Pearson wants this. Well, he is the Prime Minister, but blue is not an official Canadian color. Meanwhile, John Diefenbaker and the Tories want this. You know, the only way I'll ever get the whole committee together is to persuade my Liberals to reject their own Prime Minister's choice. Well, the Tories will agree to that at least. Is there one design here that the whole committee can agree on that says Canada? No mistake about it. I wonder. Prime Minister and Mr. Diefenbaker, I was just talking about you. Are we all going to the same party?
Amazingly, John Matheson MP would achieve the unanimity he sought.
So, this episode of Corner Gas that we're reviewing today is the season 1, 6th episode of season 1, World's Biggest Thing, which originally aired on February 25th of 2004. I was 19 years old.
I was still in high school.
It actually was not the best year for me. Actually, no, 2004 wasn't bad. 2005 kind of sucked. But, well, anyway.
Bad times.
So,
Dog River.
Bad times in Dog River. Big trouble in
Little Dog.
Big trouble in Little Dog.
Big River and Little Dog. Big Dog and Little River.
It sounds like code names for something. Big Dog. Big Dog. This is Little River. Reporting in.
Big Dog reporting.
Come back. Come back. We've got eyes on the target.
Just picking up some gas. Over.
Ready to drop Ready to drop the payload.
Wait until I get the snacks and gas. Snacks and smokes.
So, So this episode, what this is about is Hank has the idea that to drum up tourism in Dog River, they need to come up with the world's biggest. And so he's pitching this idea to Brent, and he's like, the world's biggest.
You know how like blah blah has like the world's biggest like ball of yarn and Wellerton, and whenever they say Wellerton, yeah, it's Wellerton. Everybody in the town like turns their head and like mimes spitting.
Yeah. Funny thing about that is there is an episode where Sergeant Davis goes to actually work for the Wollerton police department, and he says Dog River. When he says Dog River, he's talking to another cop. He says Dog River, and he mimes the like spitting motion, and the other guy is just like, "Why did you do that?" So
so it's a one-sided rivalry.
So it's a one-sided thing.
Lol.
The implication is Wollerton doesn't care about Dog River.
That's pretty funny.
But Dog River hates Wollerton for some reason.
And what do they find out? I can't remember what Wollerton has, but they've got a world's biggest thing.
The world's biggest magpie.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. So it's like, hey, you should bring that up in the
town meeting.
Town meeting, yeah.
Hey, everybody! Hank had a good idea. Somebody circle the calendar.
Yeah. So he says that, but the gas station's empty.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, haha. And he's like, you need to be there to support me. You know, I'm not good at like public speaking. And he's like, Hank, there's going to be like 8 people there.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I think it's a great idea. Good buddy. Anything you need from me at all, I am here to support you. What do you need from me?
Oh, right.
He's like, come to the town meeting with me. And he's like, no. You know, I looked up, speaking of people's ages, I looked up Brent, and he was like, I think 37 during this episode. Yeah.
It's that meme where like the past generation, like just like what's the meme that like Gen Z look older or as old as millennials, and Gen X look way older than millennials at the same ages.
Yeah.
I wonder what that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, a lot of memes about that.
I was actually discussing. I was part of a discussion about this on Reddit the other day, actually, and the conclusion that most people came to is like a lot of it comes down to fashion. Whereas like people in their 30s, you know, in previous generations would very quickly, like women would settle into wearing like big, like frumpy, like old lady dresses, and men would settle into like like just wearing
And then
like
what? Their
suits.
faces just followed.
I guess, yeah.
Because you look at Cheers, and we're older than all the people on Cheers, but
I know we're older than Kelsey Grammer is in the first season of Frasier, which is
wild because he looks like 10 years away from retirement.
I know, right? It's like, and Beverly, I've talked about this before, but watching Beverly Hills Cop, the like older, like seasoned detective of the duo of that guy and Judge Reinhold. Judge Reinhold's supposed to be like the young rookie. That guy was only like in his mid-30s, even though he's like almost completely bald. He's like quite overweight and like kind of like as like a dumpy figure. He wears like
it's all the microplastics in millennials keeps us youthful.
All the microplastics in our balls.
Yeah,
because that's where they are apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Anyway,
so that explains everything.
That explains everything.
That's why I nut confetti.
It makes.
And I'm like, that'll be $15.
It makes that confetti sound effect from Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, that kind of.
Yeah,
that was a pretty good impression.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Fuck. What are we even on? Oh, so yeah. We cut to across the gravel to Ruby's, and Davis is grabbing some coffee before rolling out, and he's talking to why did I forget Brent's dad?
Lacey and Oscar,
right? And Oscar's an old timer, wears like a trucker hat, and is like semi-retired, but I think what he does with this time is basically like just hang out at the Ruby and gossip. And but before that, there's the joke about the wall of bounced checks.
Yeah, so Brent likes to play tricks on his dad. So there's like a wall of shame that his dad has set up in Corner Gas, the gas station, where you like write in chalk someone's name who bounced checks, and Brent has like written like Peter Parker, and Oscar is like, and who is this Jean-Luc Picard? Oh, that's Jean-Luc Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard, and he's like,
Marge Simpson.
That name sounds familiar.
Don't accept checks from Marge Simpson or that French guy. So they're in Davis and Oscar are like sitting in the Ruby, and Lacey is like serving them, and Davis is like, he's got like a cramp in his back, so it hurts for him.
And he goes, ugh, because he like reaches across and like grabs someone else's ketchup. And
he's like, I just like, I throw my back out just doing something simple like shaving. And Oscar is like, it's because you're getting old. He's like, I'm not old. He's like, well, you're not young. And I'm like, oof. Being that I'm probably like the same age as Davis is here in the scene, I feel that.
Yeah.
I think he actually was about 40 in the first season.
About so. It's like, well, you're not young. First, you're hurting yourself just like reaching over for things. And then he's like, and then you're wondering, I can't remember, but there's like a sequence to how he's saying.
He has a bit of a monologue. So Oscar is like, sooner or later you start to realize that you're getting older, and then sooner or later you realize that you are old, and then sooner or later you don't realize nothing because you're dead.
Because you're dead. Well, and then Davis kind of leaves, and he's like, has anyone ever told you should go into motivational speaking? And he walks out. Yeah. And he's like, what? Why isn't he appreciative of my old man words of wisdom? And Lacey is like, Oscar, you're not an old man. And he's like, oh, poppycock, of course I am. It's like, I'm 62, but I look 72.
Yeah. And Lacey's trying to make him feel better is just like, don't be like that. You are a damn fine looking young man, Oscar, and don't you forget it. And this is the subplot, one of the subplots of the episode that I kind of drags the episode down for me a little bit, honestly.
It's
so Oscar gets the idea in his head that like Lacey is into him, and way too much of the episode is spent on him like trying to like dissuade her.
Yeah, and in fact, he goes to his wife Emma. She's often knitting at home, and I actually like Emma on the show more than Oscar.
I think that's the idea.
Yeah, and she's knitting, or they're eating dinner, or something like that, and he's all like, "Oh, I'd be careful if I were you, Emma," and she's like, "Uh-huh," and he's all like, "I hate to admit it, but a young woman in town has a crush on me." And he admits it's Lacey, and she keeps a straight face, and she's like, "We've been married 30 years, Oscar, and I don't know what I would do if you ran off. You and Lacey like ran off." And then she breaks down and starts laughing, and she's like, "Oh, I almost managed to keep a straight face throughout all that." And he's angry that she's not taking him seriously. So then he goes on a quest to dissuade her.
Yeah.
By trying to appear unattractive.
Yeah, which results in him like intentionally putting parsley in his teeth and
smelling bad,
buying head cheese.
Yeah, which is only stocked at the gas station because of Oscar. Like he wants it there.
I think so, yeah.
Wanda had mentioned it earlier.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah, she was talking to Lacey or something like that, and she's like, "What? Head cheese?" And it's like, Oscar makes us stock it.
Oscar actually reminds me a little bit of my grandpa. My grandpa's smarter than Oscar, but like just like kind of general vibe, he reminds me a lot of my grandpa. And my grandpa incidentally loves head cheese.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's the joke. What did Wanda say? She was like, he loves head cheese, and it's like, Brent was like, "Oh, it makes sense because well, it makes sense that Depression era food would be his favorite."
Yeah.
Or something like that. So that's like the subplot. And they cut back to the main plot. Hank tries to give his speech, but it's woefully, he's a guy who like goes through his thought processes on the fly. So he's kind of like, and the city meeting is just kind of like at the rec center.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you could just see like, like people in the background, like entering and like leaving the rec center.
That's pretty common for small towns, honestly. Yeah. Like town hall meetings will usually just be held in like the school gymnasium or something.
Usually the school, yeah.
Yeah.
As somebody from a woefully small town, does it ever say the population of Dog River?
It's a plot point in one episode, actually. Hank, there's an episode, I can't remember if it's a season 1 or season 2 episode. I actually just binged through a bunch of this recently. There's an episode where Hank has been the person who's been in charge of taking the town census for years and years and years, but now
I remember that episode.
Now all of a sudden Oscar wants to do it because reasons. And what they end up settling on is the town's population is around 500.
It's around 500. So it was about as big or bigger than the small town I graduated from. I did it. I escaped.
Right.
And then I and I'll never go back.
I don't know if this has ever actually come up on the podcast or not, if it's been relevant, but I actually, as a teenager, lived in Saskatchewan for a couple of years. Now, the
best time of your life.
The town I lived in was bigger than Dog River. It was quite a bit bigger, but it was still a small town. So I actually kind of vibe with this show to a certain extent. Because it is like it's a sitcom like through and through, but it is a fairly like its depictions of like how small town prairie towns are is actually pretty accurate.
Yep. Whereas for me, I lean the other way, where the longer I watch this, the more depressed it makes me.
Oh,
I have weird. Yeah, I'll talk about it more at the end of the episode, but yeah, there's
okay.
kind of like a melancholic fear / depression of being stuck in a place associated with this show.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I apologize. I didn't mean to trigger that in you.
Oh no, it's okay. But it's probably would be easier to watch now as compared to like the 2000s when I a friend lent me it and I like watched like season 1 and 2. It's a good example of like a background show.
Totally, yeah.
Right? For better or worse. It's a good example of a background show.
It's a show that you can drop in and out of quite easily.
Yeah.
Like even like in the middle of episodes, like if you get up and like go and get a snack and then come back and it's still playing and you've missed like 10 minutes of the episode, like you can kind of just slide back into it.
Yeah. And that has its strengths as well.
It does, yeah. It has its strengths. With shows like that, I find the benefit is that you can kind of slide in and out of them, but the downside is they're not tend to not be very substantial.
Mm-hmm. So to jump back into it, Hank is not expressing himself properly, and Brent is going with Lacey, but he wants to kind of like hide so that he doesn't see him there. And then eventually stumbling over his words, well, like we got a thing, and like Woolerton, and then everyone spits, has like world's like, and there's like magpies and like
people need gas and
people need gas.
They need snacks.
Like
they need smokes. They need a like, big one.
They like go into like seeing things that are big and then he's like, oh, Brent, you can help me out with this. And so Brent explains, hey, what if we get like an attraction?
I like the comment where Lacey, after Hank is like fumbling his words, Lacey is like smooth, and Brent says he's like a young Trudeau.
An era of its time, because of the time of that this is out, they're referring to
Pierre Trudeau.
Yeah,
who was actually known as being like a really smooth talker.
And I would even argue that Justin Trudeau is very charismatic. Whether you like him or hate him, is refreshingly well-spoken leader that we may or may not ever see again,
and kind of just all around like comes across as like an all around like good guy.
I know if you're conservative, if you're conservative and you're listening to this, you're probably like, getting in the comments right now. But like, compared to who else, man, it's just like we have like 2 every 20 years, that are stomachable.
Mm-hmm.
Like the same cannot be said of Harper, who I'm sure was actually a robot,
who appears in a couple of episodes of Corner Gas over its run.
That's right. So. And what other little side thing? Oh, there's a scene. There's often scenes between Karen and Davis.
So there's a scene that I find pretty amusing where Karen and Davis are sitting in a squad car together, and Davis is talking about how like everything sucks basically, and Karen puts on some music, and I don't know what the music is, but it sounds kind of like basically Great Value Limp Bizkit.
And you want to justify ripping someone's head off.
Yeah.
And he's like, turn that kid music off.
Yeah, new music sucks. Grumpy. New music sucks too. And she's like, new? That came out in like 96. I was still in high school back then. And Davis is just like, oh. So this whole aging thing is like really getting to him.
Mm-hmm.
in a way that I find both relatable and kind of charming. Like I said earlier in the podcast, Davis, the MVP of the show.
He is, yeah, and them together is pretty because she's pretty funny too. So when you're watching this, people, I wouldn't say that everyone is a bad actor. It's like they're all a caricature of that type of person in the small town.
Right.
So there's no subtle acting in this. How would I describe it? Like, it's almost, how I guess in like Seinfeld, how they all have like their kind of role, but it's exaggerated. That's how I feel like the characters come across in this. Does that make sense?
Pretty standard in sitcom writing, honestly.
The most subtle one being Brent.
I feel like he's kind of just playing himself.
But that also then comes across as him being the least interesting character, right? Like he's the catalyst between all the other characters, which is fine. Yeah. Well, I mean, his name is Brent Butt, the actor's name and producer of the show, and the character's name he's playing is Brent.
Yeah, Brent Leroy.
Yeah. But what is it? Karen wants to see what it's like inside of the town meetings.
Right. Yeah, that's her big thing in this episode is she's all excited about like the idea of like a town hall meeting and like wanting to know what's up. I've been to town hall meetings before. Mm-hmm. They're not that exciting.
So the group ends up agreeing upon Brent's idea, which Hank, they form a committee of 6 people, which is the mayor, Glasses guy, who's in like every like town hall meeting, Hank, Brent, and the mayor's grandma.
Yeah.
And they're discussing what it should be. Should it be a giant dog in the river? And
yes, because
no, that's too on the nose.
Yeah, Brent is like, we need to make something that is representative of Dog River. And one guy is like, how about a big dog standing in a river? And Brent is like, and yet something less obvious than that.
And then Grandma's like, well, what about like we're a proud agricultural like town. Like, why don't we choose like a giant hoe? And Brent is like, well, and Lacey's like refilling their coffee. And she's like, oh, so we can be known for having the world's biggest hoe.
Yeah.
And Brent just kind of like looks at her and he's like, well, what about a shovel? And it's like, well, what's wrong with hoe? Yeah, and it can be like look like it's like, soil can be flying everywhere. And Lacey's like, the world's biggest, dirtiest hoe.
And crack hoe comes up at one point.
And they're like, oh, we should use wood for like the base and like have sheet metal over here. Well, no, we can't use that because then it will become full of crack. Then we'd have the world's biggest cracked hoe.
It's
look, we can't have a hoe.
It's I don't know if I appreciate it for this or if I consider it a slight, but this is very much like, this feels like a conversation that you would hear people actually having. Like, and
they're like, look, we can't have a giant like hoe. And it's like, well, why don't you like say that to the mayor's grandmother? Turn to her and tell her why she can't.
Why we can't? Why she can't have the world's biggest, dirtiest hoe?
The world's biggest, dirtiest crack hoe.
Yeah.
And he turns and he's like, "Listen, I'm sorry. You're right." Because he's not ready to have that conversation.
And we cut away to
them leaving.
Them talking to the mayor, and he's like, "Of course, world's biggest hoe. Of course, I picked up on it." She was my grandma. My grandma. What
I'm
was
not
I
going
going
to
to
say
say?
anything. And his face is like red, and Brent's like recalling it, and he's like, "Yeah, because they're going to the bar at night." And he's like, "Yeah, it was like his face was like full of like red Jello or something, something like that." And it's like, Hank, what the hell's wrong with you? Why were you doing anything? And he's like, "Oh no, I knew because he begins to explain. He's like, okay, listen, like when it comes to rap music, or no, what does Lacey say? She's like, in more urban areas, there's a type of music. He's like, yeah, I know what like a hoe is, but like think about that controversy. Makes people talk
in large urban centers. Some women often exchange services for funds.
They exchange certain services for currency, and yeah. And he's like,
they
yeah,
do drive revenue.
And Hank reveals that no, he's going with that because the controversy of it would probably make people more interested in it.
Yeah,
and then they're like,
people are going to want to come to Dog River to see the world's biggest hoe,
the world's biggest, dirtiest hoe. And Wanda's like, wait, that's a good idea. Everyone circle the calendar. Hank just had a good idea. And Brent's like, I already used that joke earlier.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada. Oscar like shows up with like some parsley in his like teeth or spinach or something, and he smells bad, and his clothes are like messy.
Yeah,
because his idea is to make himself less appealing to the female gaze.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what do you think, Lacey? Huh? Isn't that disgusting? And she's like, oh no, it happens to me all the time.
Yeah, I get stuff stuck in my teeth.
I don't judge people for that. And he's like, oh, just too attractive. And he like leaves. And what was it? Hank leaves because he's like, oh, I can't watch a woman play pinball. And because Lacey's playing pinball. And she's like, what? And Brent is like, oh, you don't have to press both of the paddles at the same time. You can press them like individually or whatever. I didn't really get this. Maybe it's of its time or whatever, but
I've never been into pinball.
It's designed to make you lose as fast as possible. It's like the mobile games of like the 80s and 90s. Like
kind of, yeah. I've never met.
I lose interest real fast. I'm like, oh wow, pinball, and then 30 seconds in, I'm like, oh yeah.
I've never met anyone younger than a Gen Xer who is into pinball. And I feel
people
like
will pretend they do, but then you watch them play and they lose in like 40 seconds and you're like, yeah.
Well, that was a thing.
That's pinball. $2 toonie well spent, eh?
Mm-hmm. And I feel like the reason why like our generation and younger never really got into pinball is because we have video games.
There's something better and costs less 20 feet away called arcade games.
It's like, yeah, I could either play, Kiss pinball for some God knows what reason, or I can go over there and play the TMNT arcade game.
Are we talking about a real place? Yes. There's a place in this city, which surprisingly and shockingly has stayed in business over the years and through the pandemic.
Yeah, even through the pandemic, which is kind of wild.
I was surprised.
I hear I hear they serve alcohol now too.
Yeah. Oh, for a while, years. Yeah.
Because for the first couple of years that they weren't open, I usually never wanted to stay there very long because I'd rather go sit at a pub because I couldn't order a beer. But apparently
that's how they get your business.
But apparently you can now, is what I've
look at that.
Yeah.
And there's a whole pinball section, and I'm just like, man, I get the nostalgia of it, but like But why? Nobody's in there.
People
will go in there, play one game, and then remember that they don't like pinball and then leave. It's fucking hilarious.
There's a pinball section, and it's always like the same like 3 dudes all in like their mid to late 50s
wearing pinball. A leather jacket.
Yeah.
Usually might say like Harley Davidson, even though they've never ridden one. Yeah. I know the I know the types. Usually have a hat like this, coincidentally.
Oh yeah, your Newsies hat.
That's right. Extra, extra. Read all about it. Gen X plays pinball. It's bigger now too. I don't know if you've been lately.
No. But bigger. Late breaking news, people. I'm moving back down there.
That's right.
Maybe
coming back to the land down under.
So maybe we can hit up Quasars after I get settled in.
That's right. Quasars. And what the heck was we talking about? Oh, yeah, pinball. Lacey inevitably loses or something. That's not important to the plot. There is a scene where they're talking about rap and people's lack of knowledge of the word hoe. And it's like, well, Lacey's like, well, it makes sense. There's not a big, like a rap scene in Dog River. And then they hear rap, like generic, like Canadian hip hop, like blasting from a car. And Officer Davis like rolls by them going slow. And he's like this out the window or something.
Yeah, he's doing like a gang sign.
And he's got his like glasses, sunglasses on.
Yeah, because now he's.
I really liked that bit. That more like that.
He's embraced the Great Value Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, he's bringing it back. There's a bunch of yada yada. Eventually, they trick. Lacey tricks when she finds out what's going on, and everyone reveals that Oscar thinks that Lacey has a crush on him. She's like, oh, Oscar, you like head cheese? Oh, that's so unattractive. I can't be around you when you're anymore.
Yeah, because Wanda is trying to like help her get out of this, and she's like, oh, Lacey, Oscar's buying head cheese. And Lacey's like, so? And Wanda's like
yeah, head cheese. Oh, disgusting. Oh, so unattractive. I need to leave.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the episode, honestly. They find out at the end, after they build this big hoe, that another town actually has the world's biggest hoe. And they're like...
Yeah, that's close by, too.
They're like, maybe we should have researched
Maybe we should have researched this first. There is a scene with Davis at Town Hall showing Karen. And she's like, wow, so this is the town meeting, huh? And he's like, yeah. And they're talking about, all right, so it's decided we're going to invest in like the world's like biggest hoe. And Davis is like, world's biggest hoe? That's like saying we have the world's biggest prostitute. And the mayor's grandma like stands up and she's like, oh, I can't believe the mouth on young people these days. You should be ashamed of yourself, young man, and slaps him. Bold. You just slapped a cop. But again, it's a small, like he doesn't, it's not like she actually assaulted him. If this is in America, man, she'd be on the ground, like hip and arm broken, guns drawn.
And
just saying.
And I mean, Davis is pretty wholesome.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, are you okay? She just assaulted you. Karen to Davis. And he's like, wow, she just called me she just called me young or whatever. And Karen's like, well, I mean, like relatively, I guess so. And he's like, yeah,
still got it.
Still got it.
There's
for me, that was like the end of the episode, but there is a funny bit because it shows Hank, Lacey, and Brent in another town looking at the world's biggest toe, and he's like, yep, should have researched it first. You want to spend money here? Oh yeah. Well, we could go for some like snacks or smokes.
Some gas, maybe.
Oh well. Oh, and then Lacey's like, oh, there's a gas station right there. Okay. And then they walk off screen, and that's the episode.
That's the episode. And
yeah,
before we reveal whether we're going to tune in again, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm not a lumberjack or a fur trader, and I don't live in an igloo or eat blubber or own a dog sled. And I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm certain they're really, really nice. I have a prime minister, not a president. I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not a boot. I can proudly sew my country's flag on my backpack. I believe in peacekeeping, not policing. Diversity, not assimilation. And that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A toque is a hat. A Chesterfield is a coach. And it is pronounced Zed, not Z-Z. Canada is the second largest landmass, the first nation of hockey, and the best part of North America. My name is Joe, and I am Canadian.
Thank you. And we're back. So, Cal, you just caught a random episode of Corner Gas. Would you tune in again?
I'm so mixed because like it's not offensive.
It's very the humor in the show is very normie humor. Was kind of what I was getting
very
at.
normie humor, and it's kind of like, here's the thing. Seinfeld doesn't age well because some jokes are either like really sexist, transphobic, or involve like underage people or like little things like that. But otherwise, no, because like they're kind of assholes in that, and that's the point. Again, I can't like binge it because then it's just kind of like having small town drama that I escaped from, like playing in the background. But there was one thing that swayed me on this episode that we haven't mentioned.
Oh,
they were like, "Oh, good thing like nobody like took it seriously," and like Emma like had to come after like Lacey or whatever. And it's like, yeah, like, and then Brent and Wanda like teasing like Lacey or something like that. They're like, yeah, well, or was it Oscar? I can't remember, but somebody was like, well, Lacey's got like the youth and like the speed or whatever, but Emma's got the power. And then Brent's like, yeah. And it cuts to Emma, who doesn't care what's going on. She's just, again, every scene is just subtle with her, but I feel like is gold, like with Emma this episode. It cuts to her and she's taking out the trash, and she has two gigantic, one trash bag in like each hand. Now that I'm thinking about it, is to imply that they're like both really heavy. And it cuts back and the camera is down low to exaggerate the distance. And it goes like generic like animal sounds as some bushes in her garden. And she's like, oh, freaking skunk is back in the garden. And she puts the garbage down. And for some reason, because to make the bit work, she grabs a cylinder block and with one hand just tosses it, and it flies across the yard, out of camera, right? But it means to imply that she just threw it like 100 feet and almost squishes and kills the skunk. And she's like, "Get out of here, you damn skunk!" And it was right after but Emma's got that strength, and people are like, yeah. And she just like fucking like shot puts this like cylinder block like 100 feet like it's nothing. I actually laughed out loud at that, and that's what kind of swayed me over into I would tune in next week, especially if I don't have to binge it, where eventually something will be all like, oh man, this reminds me of being imagine this, but half of the people are alcoholics and everyone hates everyone else because of things in the past.
Right.
And less people by about half. And then you're stuck there.
Nightmarish.
Truly nightmarish. And then people are like, how come you don't come back and visit? bitch, you couldn't pay me to go back and visit. My grad class was 4 people.
Wow. That is a small town.
Right? The fact it had a graduation program at all was surprising.
Truly.
How about your
no
so
child
I
left
would
behind.
tune in. I would tune in next week because I do like some of the bits. Davis really sold this for me. Emma really sold it for me. The Oscar thing, like whatever. What about you? Would you tune in next week?
Yeah, and indeed, I have been kind of binging through this show for the past like week or so now. In a very like it's on in the background kind of way.
Yeah. Fell asleep. Half a season went by.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I like most of the characters in the show. Brent kind of works as like the like sarcastic like straight man.
Yeah, the glue. His parents are connected to Wanda through him managing the gas station, them hanging out. Yeah, he's like never the drive of the episode, but is always like the spoke, the connecting axle between everyone.
Very little plots are driven by Brent. It's mostly stuff that the other characters are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Hank is fine. He's fine as like kind of the dumb like sidekick. Lacey I find quite sweet.
Yeah.
And Davis.
Right. Lacey or Karen?
I don't know, honestly.
It's a tough one. We'll have to go to Doug.
Davis and Karen are both great. I especially, like I said earlier in the podcast, Davis is the MVP of the show for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so would tune in again.
Eh? Well, what are we? We're driving through Dog River, but where are we ending up?
We're ending up at patreon.com/lazorcomb, LAZORCOMB. Starting at the $5 tier, you get access to our bonus weekly Patreon exclusive podcast, the Super Lazorcomb Patreon Super Show. The $10 tier, you get the occasional commentary track and the ability to pick a show for us to review a random episode of on this very podcast. So if you want to get in on that, go to patreon.com/lazorcomb. Join the Discord if you want to interact with us. Link in the description, as always. Buy a t-shirt. Link in the description. If you're watching the video version, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Really helps us out. We will be back next week with episode 130? This is 129, right? Yes, this is 129.
Yeah.
People,
so hard to pay attention, eh?
People, when you've done as many podcasts as we have now at this point over the past 5 years, sometimes you lose track of some things. We'll be back next time with episode 130 of the Lazorcomb podcast, where we're going to be continuing with Elbows Up, and we're going to move on to Schitt's Creek. We
didn't make that title up. We're going through Dog River, and we're taking a right after the old Stedman farm, going straight into Schitt's Creek.
Yep. Schitt's Creek. So, to figure out what episode of Schitt's Creek we're going to watch, I'm going to
just a quick rip and a half.
I'm going to go to the random number generator and hit screen share. Screen 2. Share. So it looks like it has 81 episodes. So one random number between 1 and 81. And here we go.
1 and 81.
17.
Ooh.
That's probably a season 2 episode, I'm going to guess. Yep. Jazzagals.
17 or 18?
Oh, wait. Sorry. 17. Estate sale.
There we go.
There we go.
Estate sale.
Yeah. No plot synopsis, so I guess we'll find out next time what that's going to be about. Until then, I've been Christopher Siege, one of your hosts.
And I'm small town Cal, or I don't like that. And I'm Neo Cal, your other host.
Siege Catchuan.
Siege Catchuan rolls right off the tongue. We'll have to spell that in elementary school. Good luck.
Siege Catchuan and Cal River.
Oh, Calberta.
Oh.
Ooh. Siege Catchuan and Calberta. I don't make the rules. And I barely follow them.
And, well, thanks for listening. We will Dog River you next time.
Oh, not if I can help it.
Well, I used to be a farmer and I made a living fine. I had a little stretch of land along the CB line. But times went by and though I tried, the money wasn't there. And the bankers came and took my land and told me fair is fair. I looked for every kind of job, the answer always no. Hire you now, they'd always laugh, we just let 20 go. The government, they promised me a measly little sum. But I've got too much pride to end up just another bum. Then I thought, who gives a damn if all the jobs are gone? I'm gonna be a pirate on the river Saskatchewan. And it's a heave-ho-high, coming down the plains, stealing wheat and barley and all the other grains. And it's a ho-hi, farmers bar your doors when you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores. Well, you think the local farmers would know that I'm at large, but just the other day I found an unprotected barge. I snuck up right behind them and they were none the wiser. I rammed their ship and sank it and I stole the fertilizer. Bridge on side of Moose Jaw, Spencer Mighty River. Farmers fussing so much fear their stomachs are a quiver. Cause they know the captain tracked is hiding in the bay. I'll jump their bridge and knock 'em cold and seal 'em with the hay. And it's a heave-ho-hi, coming down the plains, stealing wheat and barley and all the other grains. And it's a ho-hi, farmers by your doors when you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores. Well, Mountie Bobby chased me, he was always at my throat. He fought on the shoreline cause he didn't own a boat. But the cutbacks were a-coming and the Mountie lost his job. So now he's sailing with me and we call him Salty Bob. Swinging sword and skull and bones in prison company. I never pay my income taxes through the GST. Right. Sailing down to Saskatoon, the terror of the sea. If you wanna reach the co-op, boy, you gotta get by me. Ha-ha, and it's a heave-ho-hi, coming down the plains, stealing wheat and barley and all the other grains. And it's a ho-hi, farmers by your doors when you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores. Pirate life's appealing, but you don't just find it here. I hear in North Alberta there's a band of buccaneers. They roam the Athabasca, Smith and Fort McKay. And you're gonna lose your Stetson if you have to pass away. Well, winter is a-coming and the chill is in the breeze. My pirate days are over once the river starts to freeze. I'll be back in springtime, but now I have to go. I hear there's lots of plundering down in New Mexico. And it's a heave-ho-hi, coming down the plains, stealing wheat and barley and all the other grains. And it's a ho-hi, farmers by your doors when you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores. And it's a heave-ho-hi, coming down the plains, stealing wheat and barley and all the other grains. And it's a ho-hi, farmers by your doors when you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores.